Welcome back, everyone, to the Writer's Parachute, where we are guiding author and writer dreams to a perfect landing. We have with us today two very special guests. It's a mother and daughter author duo. It is Jackie and Stenetta Anthony, and we welcome them. We're going to talk to them in a few moments about their books. Ella Learns to Dance by Stenetta Anthony, and also Jackie's book, Who Would Have Thought, a guided journal. But of course, at the top of the show, we always have the housekeeping to do. We would love for you to go ahead and smash that like button. Go ahead and follow us here on YouTube or whatever podcast channel you're listening to us from. We would also love for you to go follow us on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and now on Threads at Writer Parachute. That is Writer Parachute without an S. And of course, we have a new weekly update straight to your inbox. If you would like to sign up for that, you can go to sendfox.com/the writer's parachute. Of course, we have links to all of this in the show notes for you. So go check that out and get your weekly update and not miss an episode of the writer's parachute. So to start us off, we're going to have our topic of the week. So, all right, ladies. So I want to thank Stanetta for bringing up this question around reviews. We've been focusing season 2 on reviews, how to do reviews, what kinds of reviews, what makes them different, all the rules and guidelines around reviews. Stanetta had an interesting question about that. She said that while she's getting reviews, when she tries to promote or market those reviews, as I've given you information about, she is not getting the response that she's expecting. So we talked about this a little bit in the green room, and what we discovered is she is forgetting to include a call to action. So the difference is you get on there and you say, hey, I got this great review. Isn't it wonderful? And we got crickets. Probably get some likes and congratulations, but you got crickets because you didn't tell them to do anything. So what a call to action is asking them to continue on the conversation. Changing it a little bit is like, I love these great reviews. Have you read the book? Go get it here. We just told them what to do. We told them what we want from them, and people will follow through. Now, of course, not everybody's going to, but that is going to get her the traction that she is looking for in the terms of sales or other people looking at her book or looking to buy her book or review her book. So the next time you have a review that you want to promote on your social media, on your website or that, try remembering, add that call to action. That is a part of marketing and promotion that is important. But remember, before you decide on that call to action, decide what it is that you want to get. In her particular case, she wanted sales. So again, have you read the book? Go get it here. Worked perfectly. So that's all I have to say about it today. I know that's just a little snippet about this topic. Of course, if you would love for us to do a special episode about this topic or any topic that we've brought up this year on season 2, please reach out to us at thewritersparachute.com or info@thewritersparachute.com. And we will be happy to meet with you and talk to you about what you would like. And also you can leave us a comment in the show notes as well. So let's get on with the show. We've got two lovely ladies today. They are a mother and daughter duo. We have author Stenetta Anthony. She's a children's author. She wrote Ella Learns to Dance. That's her latest book. And she had a former book called Sally Finds a Home, which is an amazing book. It's very high award winner. And Ella Learns to Dance just won an award. And then we have her daughter, Jackie Anthony. She is a debut author, and her book is Who Would Have Thought, a guided journal. So Jackie is worked with individuals and families throughout the Chicago area with socioeconomic, ethic, and religious backgrounds. Jackie has earned an associate's and bachelor's degree in arts with a concentration in psychology, as well as a master's degree in mental health and clinical counseling. Jackie has made a promise to live her life in supporting individuals and families to gain mental, emotional, and relationship stability for healthy living. Watch my tongue, I can't do anything with it. We have Stenetta Anthony. She began her career as an educator, graduating from Grand Canyon University with a degree in educational studies. After being in the classroom for 20 plus years, she went on to reading children's books to writing them. She hopes to inspire people to believe in themselves, to follow their dreams, and to write their own stories. Welcome, ladies, to the Writer Parachute. Jackie, how are you today?
Okay. A little nervous, but I'm good. I'm good.
All right. Well, we've got you. We won't let you fail. How are you today, Stanetta?
Doing well, excited that my daughter is here with me.
Well, this is the first for me. I've not had to interview two at the same time, but I'm so glad I'm breaking the ice with the two of you. You're so much fun and you're so happy and ready to do this. So let's get it on. And if we fail, we're all failing together. So that's fine anyway. So So I have to tell you that finding mother and daughter writing duos, well, it's not that unusual. It is highly unusual in your particular case because you guys don't write together and you don't write in the same genre. And it's a first here for the writer's parachute. So I want to know, Jackie, what made you decide to follow your mother's footsteps and journey into becoming an author?
I didn't want to be a writer. Never was the plan. It just felt like it was something I needed to do. I was happy that I got my mom, so she helped me, like, guide me through it. So then a lot of mistakes first time I didn't make. So that was like the helpful thing, but this was never my plan. Never.
Well, I have to tell you the truth. It was never my plan to be an author. I mean, I just wanted to be a writer. I just wanted to write stories. I didn't care whether anybody else ever read them, but then my grandkids convinced me. But then I never imagined I would be a podcast host. I never imagined I'd be, an editor and a coach and all these things. So it's like I think we just stumble into all of these things that we do because
Yeah.
we want to help people. So I mean, that's not a bad thing. So I'm so glad you did decide to follow your mom and get your book out. It's an amazing piece of work, and I encourage people to go check it out. So the two of you kind of have a different approach to writing, as I mentioned, and working in different genres. So how do you think that helps or hinders your relationship as far as being authors? And I'm going to ask you first, Jackie.
Oh, I thought you was gonna go to my mom first. And I think it's just because not necessarily as a writer or author, but more so because I'm a therapist. I have to watch myself in any relationship just to make sure I'm talking to them as a human and not trying to analyze them or trying to diagnose them. So I think that's the key part more so because I see certain things. I'm like, I can't say nothing. I'm not a therapist. I'm just Jackie. I'm her kid, and I'm gonna leave it at that. So besides that, yeah, I think it's more so that just my profession and not necessarily me as a writer.
I see. I feel like that's a very diplomatic answer. Probably one I would give to if they were asking about my mom. It's like, yeah, no, I listen to everything she said.
Yes.
So, Stanetta, how do you think it affects
Okay,
your
I don't
relationship?
know after she gave that answer, but you know, I, I can kind of piggyback on what Jackie said. She does have with it is a hindrance in some ways because as a therapist, I do kind of want to get some answers sometimes from something, but I know that there are boundaries that I cannot cross. And she will actually tell me, okay, Ma. So, and that's how she says, Ma. And so I wouldn't consider it a hindrance. I would consider it as a respect because I have to respect her as not only my daughter, but I have to respect her profession.
Right.
So,
Well, and you couldn't do more a better job. You're both doing a great job. And I would just say that part of the reason that people are mostly attracted to fiction writing is for that reason because you can kind of just take a random fact or something sort of true and just go off into the ether with it. And but yeah, I can see where it would be a little difficult given your profession, to be put on the spot for answers like that. But I'm so glad that you're working through all of this stuff and you're giving this amazing journal to help other people get through what it is they're struggling with. So that's good. So, Stanetta, this is your second visit here on the Writer's Parachute, but you also released a new children's book that we mentioned at the top of the show, Ella. Ella learns to dance since then. So can you tell us a little bit of inspiration behind this particular children's book?
Okay, so with Ella Learns to Dance, all of my writings really come from my time of being in the classroom. And so this one, it was the importance of teaching children to follow their dreams. And Ella's story, because she's an elephant, she's not a normal ballet dancer. So her friends discourage her. And so in everyday life, we have friends, whether we're children or adults, that we may say, I want to learn how to dance. And then they look at you, and I'm going to say, size you up and say, that's not what you should be doing. And so that is actually the gist of her story. And she does have a happy ending. She starts off a little rocky with a discouragement, and she learns to follow her dream. She learns to believe in herself. She learns to have confidence. She learns a new skill that she didn't know before. And so she has to work past that too, where, okay, I'm learning something new. It may be difficult, but am I willing to push past that to get to accomplish my particular goal? So I guess that's about Ella.
Yeah, I love it. I love this story, and I was so happy to be included towards the end of getting your book out and published, and get to read it early. So thank you for that. So it's a lovely book, and as I just mentioned, you did just recently win an award for it. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes, I won an award from Story Monsters. So Story Monsters, it's an international magazine that promotes children's books. And so they have very famous authors, and they're not necessarily authors, but people in general who are a part of their covers. So I know I've seen Kobe Bryant on one of their covers before. I've seen I know her last name is Holly Pete. So she's been on one of their covers. So they have some nice influential people on their covers. And so I was very excited to win that award.
Right. And this is part of the Dragonfly Awards, is that correct?
Yes, it's a part of the Dragonfly.
So was this is part of the purple or the blue one? I know one's in the fall and one's in the spring, and I always forget which.
So this was the purple. This
Okay.
was the purple.
Okay. All right, awesome. Well, we're so glad, and congratulations on that. So Jackie, you recently published your first book. It's a guided journal entitled Who Would Have Thought? I want to know what inspired you to kind of write and share your kind of inspiring journey to get people to recognize what they need to work on.
So my book kind of came from healing. So I had postpartum depression, and that led to being suicidal and having anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, and just everything across the board. So one of the things that helped me was acknowledging that I don't think like everyone else, and being okay with that, and not being ashamed that I don't always think as society does, but sometimes I look at things different, and it's okay. So that came from just me healing, but then I also wanted other people, because with my clients too, I see the same issue with a lot of times they think differently. And because they think differently, then a lot of times people tend to judge them or feel like they are less than, or they feel like outsiders, instead of appreciating the fact that, we're not the same, and it's okay to not be the same. So this book has not only helped me, but now I'm helping other people appreciate who they are and the way they think. So yeah.
Well, and I think the part that I really loved about it is it's simple but complex in the way that you're kind of guiding them through recognizing that about themselves, recognizing some of their obstacles and recognizing some of their strong points, and getting them to kind of love themselves despite everybody else. And I really did enjoy that part of the journal, thinking, this could work for just about anybody in almost any situation. If you're struggling, kind of in a mental health situation, I felt like this would kind of help center you to kind of figure out what is really going on. And I did appreciate that. So thank you for it. I think, like I said, I think it's a very inspiring journey that you went on, and making this book very accessible to anybody that feels like they're a little bit outside the box, which I think we all feel that way
Yeah.
from time to time, depending on the
Yeah.
situation. I bring my mother into a lot of conversation. It's like as I get older, I realize my mother was a lot smarter than I realized she was when I was younger. And she used to say, she's like, there's nobody in the world that can make you feel bad unless you let them. But that's good advice, but it's really hard in practice.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, and I think that's kind of where your journal comes in, is it kind of helps them figure out how to get past those voices that we're listening to. And I talk about this a lot, specifically with authors and journalists and stuff like that. We talk about the self-talk and the self-sabotage, and the kind of this feeling of imposter syndrome, where we feel like, oh, well, I'm not good enough, smart enough, whatever enough. It's the enoughs. And it comes from, we're so much harder on ourselves than we are on anybody else, even including our worst enemies. We talk to ourselves worse than we would our worst enemy. And, I found myself, when I was going through your journal, thinking, I do that. I really should probably fix that. So I appreciate it from that standpoint of view. So there you go. I don't know if I couldn't be a higher recommendation, other than it really kind of got me, and I'm like, oh yeah, she knows me. So I want to know what you each hope readers will take away from your books, and I'm going to start with you, Stanetta, from Ella Learns to Dance.
Okay, so what I want readers to take away from my book is the basic, to follow your dream. We all have a dream, no matter how young or how old, and just to follow it. And it's okay if everyone doesn't accept your particular dream. You just follow your dream. So that's the biggest takeaway I could say.
Yep. You got to be who you are and not let anybody hold you back. So I love that. So what about you, Jackie? And who would have thought a guided journal?
I think I just want people to just be who they are and appreciate who they are. I had one friend who was working on my journal, and then afterwards they told me one day, they was like, I really hated one of your prompts. And so they probably hated it for maybe like 30 minutes or so. Then they realized, like, oh, you know what? I do need to work on that. So I
know exactly which one.
So I want my readers to be I mentioned it in the book, but I did mention that you have to be uncomfortable in order to realize what you need to address, because you really can't grow as long as you're comfortable.
No, you can't. And yeah, it's like sometimes those uncomfortable things are prodding you to get up and get on with it, because yeah, it's like, it's so easy to sit in that recliner in that easy chair and veg out on TV, but at some point in time, you got to get up and do something to pay the bills, or to take care of your life in general. So it's kind of the same way with our mental health. We have to get up off the couch and do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I do know exactly which prompt she's talking about, because I went to that one. I'm like, okay, I'm skipping that one and I'll come back to it later. So yeah, it was tough, but I did it. Yes, a lot of revelation in that one, but we'll talk about that again later. All right, so Jackie, if you could go all the way back to the beginning, before you decided to write this book or decided to put it together, what do you wish you had known, or that somebody had told you, about writing and publishing a book?
Self-publishing is very hard. Even with this book, I noticed there's still mistakes. But the reason why I chose self-publishing was because my mom's already an author and I heard some of the stories. I didn't want anyone to change the foundation of my book. And so I felt like it would be more it'd be less of a headache of me to notice the little errors than to go through a company and they change their entire book or they change what message I was trying to put out there.
Well, yeah, I happen to agree. I'm a self-published author myself. I do work with some traditional published authors, and I honestly, I would say there are headaches on both sides of the fence. It's like, there's a lot of restrictions on being traditionally published, but there's maybe a little less work, although I'm feeling that that's coming to an end, and it's like more the work on the authors, whether you're traditionally or self-published author. But and that is something to be said about being a self-published author, is you get to maintain your voice. You don't have somebody in authority saying, well, no, you have to say it this way, or no, you have to present it this way. I mean, again, like I love to tell people, it's like, there really are no rules in writing and publishing. There are only guidelines and guide rails. It's okay to go over the side, but you better have a darn good reason for it. And maybe take your writer's parachute with you in case you're falling. So, all right. So I want to know, what do you think readers are going to think of your book, Jackie, in 10 to 20 years from now?
She was right. She was right. I should have did the work. I should have appreciated who I was. I should have settled. I should have gotten out of my comfort zone. I should have just appreciated me more, and my life would have been different. Yeah, I did it sooner than later.
Yes, yes, that was very true. It's like I did love that at the end. You could sort of see where your life kind of went off the reservation a little bit, and it's like, and then you could see like the years of trying to get it back.
Mm-hmm.
You're just like going, wow, if I'd have known then what I know now, I might not have chosen that, but it is what it is. So what do you want people to take away from Ella Learns to Dance, Stanetta?
So I'm going to follow behind Jackie a little bit. Mm-hmm. And we often wait, or I'm going to say we wait, or sometimes we fall into the discouragement of maybe I should have, maybe I shouldn't have, or listening to your friends. And then later on down the road, as we get older, we feel like it's too late to follow a dream. Mm-hmm. It's never too late to follow a dream. Now, ballet dancer, that's a little different. But you still can. If you can't be a ballet dancer, maybe you can be another type of dancer, or maybe it's something else that you wanted to do, mm-hmm. but you waited. So I would encourage people to just follow your dream, follow your heart, learn a new skill. It's never too late. And you have to get rid of those voices sometimes. Sometimes you got to get rid of those friends too that will say, okay, I don't think you should do that. Right. And so I think that would be the biggest takeaway that I would want people to see about 10 or 20 years down the line.
Right. And you and I are perfect examples. We both waited till late in life to become mm-hmm. published authors. So, and we've both done very well, considering that, we have all this crazy technology. It's like, mm-hmm. I just embrace it. I'm just like, yeah, if I mess it up, who cares? It's okay. It's just mine. It's like, it's like people go, how do you do social media? And I'm like, I just do what I think. And if it's wrong, somebody will be helpful and tell me to do it a different way. That's it. That's it. So I don't worry too much about it. It's kind of like I just jump in feet first, go, yeah.
That's what you have children for. Right. I'm going to say that's what you have children for.
What do you mean by that?
So when we mess up, you can say, that's not right. Mm-hmm. You can help us make a correction. That's what I need.
Yes, my grandchildren are constantly educating me on how to use social media, which they feel like they're doing me a favor. And I'm like, sure, here, you want to do my social media? Go right ahead.
Yes.
You know, and you know, sometimes you have to take that negative criticism as
Mhm.
fuel on the fire too. It's like a lot of times when people tell me I can't, my usual reaction is watch me. Because it's, you know, it has to be fuel to the fire. But again, I don't always say that if I don't have passion about something. Sometimes that moment is a challenge to your passion. Do you really have the passion for what you want? Or are you just dreaming? You know, and of course, you know, I used to be a ballet dancer many, we're not going to talk about how many years ago. But what I will say is, you know, as an older person, you cannot, well, I suppose there are some, but not very many, very exclusive few who can still dance on point, but there is no reason you cannot do ballet all the way up into your 90s. It's about flexibility and about movability. So yeah, there's no delay, but most people, when you talk ballet, they believe point, and there is so much more to it than that. So I'm glad of that. So I want to know, Jackie, what obstacles or challenges did you have in writing and publishing your book?
It took me a year and a half to write it, and it should have took me 2 months.
Mhm.
So my biggest challenge was motivation. I had no idea that it would take over a year to write this guided journal. But it was always I do it tomorrow, I do it Saturday. So I would say that was the biggest thing, because honestly, this could have been out at least a year ago.
Okay, yeah, I can understand that, and a lot of times we talk about this, about the motivation, and people will ask me that. They're like, well, you know, how do you say? It's like, me, I have way too much stuff to not be motivated. So, but I mean, there are days I struggle with it, I will admit. But you know what I find a lot of times, for me anyway, and I talk about this openly, is about finding my creative space. Is like a lot of times when I don't feel motivated is because I've got so many other things to do. It's like, oh my gosh, it's like I've got loads of laundry to wash, I've got dishes to put in the dishwasher, I gotta go grocery shopping, I gotta make dinner. And it's like the woulda, shoulda, couldas, and needas, and all of those things get in the way. And so I have to like get that out of my head, because it's just circling in there and I can't reach that space, that kind of quiet creative space that I need to be in. So, you know, I encourage people to figure out what it is that they have to do to reach that space. You know, is like, are you a better writer on sunny days, or in the mornings versus afternoons versus evenings, or, you know, on the weekends, or when it's quiet or when it's noisy, or, you know, you have to figure out what is that space for you, and then try and recreate it and duplicate it as often as you can, and try and shut out all of the other noise. I use the morning pages that's suggested by Julia Cameron in The Artist's Way, where, you know, basically I just sit down and I write out all of that stuff that's in my head. I go to bed with that list running through my head. I wake up in the morning with that list running through my head. And so I just write it all down. And there's something about writing it down that gets it out of my head, so I can get it uncluttered, so I can get to that space, you know, give myself some elbow room in my head where I can think and create, and you know, kind of analyze and work on what I'm writing. And that I find that's what a lot of people are struggling with, is they're trying to just work at writing like they would work at a job, and it doesn't quite work that way. You have to reach that creative space. So I applaud you for sharing that with us. So thank you for that. So what kind of obstacles or challenges did you run into, Stanetta?
Myself. It's just me. I was not as dedicated as I should have been. I'm gonna say that.
Mhm.
I didn't dedicate, even though I finished the book, I published the book, and we went through everything. I I felt I should have been more disciplined,
Mhm.
really sitting down, writing Ella's story. I love her story,
Mhm.
but and then I wrote the story in 3 or 4 different versions, could not decide which way I wanted to go. So that made me kind of step back and
Mhm.
like, which way do I want to do? So I think I was my own hindrance.
Okay. Well, you know what that sounds like? It sounds like decision fatigue, which we all suffer from that. It's like we make over 2,400 food decisions in one day. So it's like,
Mhm.
think
Okay.
about how many decisions you have to make around your book that you don't even realize that you do. And that sounds like, and so I would say for you, maybe having a plan of attack, and usually it's the other side of the writing that stifles people. It's like, yeah, I'll write the book, got no problem writing the book, getting it done and everything like that. I mean, the version history, we can, that might have been better with maybe some beta readers or a developmental editor to kind of make a decision on that. But those are tools and stuff like that. But the other aspect of it is, once it's done, once it's published, oh, now I have to market and promote. And that's a lot of work. And I find it funny with new authors, they always go, oh, I thought writing was a hard part until I got to the marketing and promotion. And I'm just like, oh, I'd rather go write some more books. And and that may be part of what was. And it is hard as an ongoing author. Once you have one book out and then writing a new book, you still have to keep working and promoting to your next book and working and promoting the books that are out. And it does become a bit much. So I would say to anybody out there that is working, especially on a second book where it's not your only sole focus, where you still have other books and other things you're working on, is to kind of have some kind of a plan. So it's like, I'm going to do this much marketing or this much promotion. Can I promote both books together? Do I need to do them separately? What do I need to do separately? What can I do together? And kind of more of a time management thing. We have to think about these project tools that we have those skills. We just don't often include them in our writing process. So hopefully that'll help you with that a little bit. But yeah, I would say, I don't think that you're not dedicated. I don't think you're not determined. I think it was just maybe a decision fatigue thing and trying to decide what comes next. So
Okay.
but
you for that.
That's my opinion. So
Thank you for those words of encouragement. I appreciate it.
you're very welcome. So I want to know from both of you, and I'm going to start with you, Stanetta, what kind of advice would you give to other authors and writers?
I guess I would say be patient with yourself. It Jackie said it taking her a year and a half. It may take another author 10 years to write a book. So one of the things is we often hear write a book in 30 days, write a book in 90 days or something like that. And that's okay. If you can do that, that's okay. But if you cannot, you shouldn't put that pressure on yourself. You want to put out the best book product that you can. The other thing is you have to treat your book as a child that you hold close and dear to your heart. And so you don't share your child, or I'm going to say dog, whatever it is. You don't share everything about them. So that's the other thing. You have to hold it near and dear to your heart, and you don't share everything about it, because sometimes we take the risk of someone else sharing your story before you can share your own story.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is keep on writing. Just keep on writing. Have pen, paper, recorder, whatever you use, whatever device you use for writing, to have it readily available and use it for writing. And research. Even though I write children's books, I still research. I still like to look and see. I researched about elephants and their habits and what they can do, what they can't do, and I did research. So that's important too. And it can be time consuming, but it is worth something, and it's valuable to me that I can share with someone else. That an elephant I found out elephants don't like to climb mountains.
No, no. And I could sort of imagine why, but yeah. But, you know, and I'm going to just mention to you here that I think that there, you know, I hear this fear a lot about people taking your ideas. And I don't worry about that too much, simply because even if they did tell your story, they can't tell it the way you tell it. So
That's
it's a
true.
completely different story. Even if they had all of your notes, they still would write an entirely different story. And, you know, yes, you want a more of a closed circle, especially when you're sharing information about an unpublished work. But, you know, sometimes we have to jump out of our comfort zone, as Jackie tells us, to, you know, to trust that other people, and if there is authors out there that are tempted to do that, just remember what kind of a reputation that's going to give you if you do that.
That's
You know,
it's true.
I fully believe karma will teach you the lesson you need eventually. So, so,
Right.
so Jackie, what kind of advice would you give to other authors and writers?
Um, so one, I researched, but not like my mom. I went to stores because I didn't want a traditional book. So I went to a few stores and looked at what was in the aisle, see what interests me. That's how I came up with creating into a guided journal. But then also being realistic, because my goal was not realistic at first. And because because I'm a therapist, there are waves. So there are times where like it's kind of calm and peaceful, like summertime, but then it like gets climax, like typically during the holiday season. So me trying to finish my book during the holiday season was unrealistic, and I kept failing. So I had to be realistic and kind of slow down and take my time, like still implement stuff, still write my book, but at the same time, I didn't overwhelm myself, and then I didn't beat myself down if I wasn't able to finish it, because I didn't want to burn myself out, and then I'm not good as far as an author, I'm not good to my clients, I'm not good as a mom. So just be realistic and do some footwork, because I think footwork is underrated, but it definitely helped me.
Well, and I do appreciate that, and that is something that we don't talk about enough, is going to the bookstores to do research. We don't talk about that. Go look at the size of the books in the section of the bookstore, what you're going to be writing in. Go look at the colors, go look at the styles, go look at the way they're laid out. And again, as I said, there's only guide rails, and yes, you can go over the edge if you want to, but have a good reason for it. You know, I once had to talk an author out of you know, writing a middle grade book, which is what I write, but they're typically at that age, because they're older children, they're normal sized books. They're standardized, either 5.5 by 8.5 or 6 by 9. Not like most children's books, like what Stanetta writes, which are kind of oversized, and that's for the comfort and use of children with small hands and their dexterity. And you know, they wanted to write this as a children's book, but they wanted a larger book, and I had to talk them out of it, because, well, yes, it would make their book stand out on that bookshelf. The reality of it is most likely some person working there would come along and see that this book doesn't belong and put it where they think it belongs, and then nobody can find their book. So sometimes you have to think about why you're doing things and how that's going to relate to your discoverability. So, but that's a very good thought, is to go into these bookstores and check out, you know, not only what your competition, although I don't like to call it competition, but what the other books are. Well, you know, Stanetta, you and I know as former teachers that I've never seen a child or a library or a home that has a bookshelf with one author on it. Have you?
No, my bookshelf is full of books, all kind of books. So,
Exactly. So we can't really call them our competition, because there's room on the shelf for all of us. So, all right. So I want to know, what keeps you motivated, Jackie?
Ooh, besides my son, I would say my rent, my car note, and, the fact that I how do I say this? I don't like to see people struggle, which is why I decided to go in the field that I go into. So that motivates me a lot, especially when I have a heart for women with postpartum depression, but I also have a heart for people who are suicidal. So hearing, like, working with them and hearing them saying, I can live again, that's like very, very rewarding.
Yes. Yes, I imagine that is extraordinarily rewarding, and that would be highly motivating. So what about you, Stanetta? What keeps you motivated?
Oh, I guess I'm not all of that,
No.
but you know what? Just what keeps me motivated is the people who read my books and that tell me that they enjoy my book for whatever reason it was, and how I'm going to refer back to A Home for Sally, and how some people said that it helped their child who has special needs to believe in themselves. There were some of the stories I got from Ella, got some stories from a class, and they were excited because they were actually had a lesson about elephants, and just motivated to go in and say, okay, somebody's using my book, it can be used for something else. I wrote it, it can be used for anything that it wants to be used for. And with that, my writing keeps me motivated. It keeps me where I'm motivated to write and to write other stories. And Jackie and our family recently, and this was exciting for all of us. One of the things that I was motivated, we were able to give copies of Ella Learns to Dance to a hospital. And that was motivating for me because the hospital said we needed books for children.
Mhm.
And so, as a children's author, I was excited to even hear and to see that my books could be placed with children who are not at home, you
Mhm.
know? And so those are some of the things that keep me motivated.
Yes. Well, and I do have to say that, I hear a lot of people say that, children's books are easy because they're simple, and I disagree. I say no. Children's books are difficult because they're complicated ideas that are simplified, and you, Stanetta, are a wizard at simplifying a complex idea, and I applaud you. Both of your books are very complex ideas, and you have broken them down into an understandable story for children that are teaching them immense lessons in strength and learning and compassion. So don't ever feel down about yourself. You do a great job. All right. So I want you guys to join us here on season 2, where we are focusing on reviews. Reviews are king. They are how we get our work out into the world. They're how we get people to discover our work, to buy our books, to know that we write great books. So we've been focusing this season on writing reviews. So Stanetta, I'm going to have you write us a review for Ella Learns to Dance.
Okay, so my review for Ella Learns to Dance is okay. This is a book that will inspire children to be self-confident, have perseverance, um, follow their dreams, and to learn that anything is possible, even if you don't seem to look as if you should be that particular dancer. Well, that may
Amazing.
not be the best review, but
I'm gonna give it 5 stars. I love it.
yeah.
I
Okay.
I think you've encapsulated perfectly. And as we say, reviews are just opinions, and it can be as short or as long as you want it to be. And it's what we do. It's how we talk about the things that we love. So how about you, Jackie? Can you write us a review for Who Would Have Thought?
Okay. Um, this is a guided journal that allows you to go just deep within yourself, within your heart, and to pull out those suppressed emotions, suppressed feelings, suppressed memories, and truly be honest with where your life is right now and where it was in the past and how it has impacted you. And then taking another look and seeing what do you really, really want. And being honest about what you really, really want. And being uncomfortable with saying what you really, really want.
I love it. I'm going to give that one 5 stars. And I think you did a great job. I know you were nervous about that part, but you did amazing. And as we said, part of the reason we're putting our guest on the spot is we want to show you, our listeners, that it is easy to leave a review. Review is just an opinion. It's as simple or as difficult as you want to make it, but it is just about what you thought. It can be something as simple as, I like this book, or I would recommend this book to this person or this group, or I think this is my favorite book, or I didn't like this book for this reason. It doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. So we want to encourage you, the next time that you read a book, to go and leave a review. It is the way that authors get feedback on their work. It is the way that they get discovered for their work. So the next time you read a good book, or even if it's not a good book, please go leave a review. If you can't remember where you purchased your book, you can always go to Goodreads, find the book, find the author, send them a note, leave them a review. And of course, we always want to encourage you to check out the books we bring to you here on the Writer's Parachute. We are finding unusual and unique authors that may not be in your purview, and bring you their books and their story and let you learn and expand your library. Please go out and check Sally Finds a Home and Ella Learns to Dance by Stenetta Anthony, and Who Would Have Thought, a guided journal by Jackie Anthony. So I want to know, what is next for you ladies? Stanetta, what do you have next in the works?
So I am working on a sequel to A Home for Sally. Skipped over Ella Learns to Dance, but I'm working on a sequel to A Home for Sally. So that's in the works. And I think that's about, and preparing for the school year, looking forward to doing some in-person school visits. So that's what I'm preparing for this year.
All right, awesome. We're so glad. And of course, when you get the sequel out, reach out to us again and we'll bring you back on the Writer's Parachute so we can talk more about the sequel to Sally Finds a Home. So what about you, Jackie? What's next for you?
I'm taking a clinical exam in September, so that's taking up most of my time. I'm thinking about going back to school for certification in business. And then eventually I will write another book, but this is going to be centered towards postpartum depression. Because again, that's something I dealt with. And because I did a lot of research and meeting a lot of people, there are a lot of women who have gone through it, but don't want to talk about it because of the judgment that goes along with it. So I want to give them an opportunity, and I want to give them something where, again, they have somewhere where they can go and like be honest about what they're going through and go from there.
All right. Well, it sounds like both of you ladies have a full plate. And of course, we'd love to have you back when you have any more books out or anything new coming up that we can come and talk about. So we want to know where listeners can find your books. Stanetta, I'll go with you since you're probably going to be able to answer that question the best.
So you can find my book on Amazon. You can find it on Barnes and Noble. You can find it on Target's website, Walmart's website. You can find it, oh my goodness, at Covenant Books. And if you want to go into your local bookstore, you can ask for it by request.
All right.
It's not on the shelf.
Awesome. So it is available worldwide. And as she said, if you go into your local bookstore and they don't have it, please ask and they can order it for you. And Jackie, your book I know is up on Amazon. Is it up on any other the retailers?
Not until my mom bugged me to put it on other places, but for now, just Amazon.
All right. Well, Of course, for you listeners, you don't need to run out of the room and grab a pen and paper. We will have all of the links for you in the show notes to get both of, or all three of the books that we mentioned today. And we'll also have links where you can connect with them on social media. I know, Jackie, you're on Stanetta, you're on Facebook. Where else are you? The platforms?
Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and I believe that's it.
Okay. And you, Jackie, you're on social media as well?
Just on Instagram for now.
Okay, great. Again, we'll have those links for you so you can reach out to them if you have any thoughts or comments about their books. Do you guys have any kind of upcoming events or giveaways or newsletters that you would like for our listeners to check out or sign up for?
I don't, not at this time.
Okay, great. And do you have anything like that, Jackie? Any kind of downloads or anything at your website?
No, I don't.
Oh, not a problem. We always ask that question just because we'd like to know. Is there anything that you would like to include that we haven't talked about before we go talk about our tip of the week?
Okay, so Donna, I forgot about that. I do have some downloads on my website that are connected with my books that are free. So I have puzzles, worksheets, and different activities that you can use in the classroom or outside of the classroom. You just have to visit my website and download them. They are.
All right. Well, we will link you to her website and to all of those lovely goodies that she has there for you. So I'm glad that you told us, and we can include that in the show notes for you. If for some reason you ever miss a link in the show notes, just reach out to us and we'll make sure to get that to you. We want to connect you with the authors and writers that we have here on the Writer's Parachute. So we're going to go ahead. Did you have anything else, Jackie, before we do the tip?
No, unless you got something for me.
I think we're good. I think we've done it. We've had a fun time and laughed our way through. So I want to do the tip of the week, and kind of what Stanetta and Jackie talked about was this kind of writing problem and grace. Now, this is sort of Jackie's forte, so I'm going to stay out of the mental health aspect of that. And I'm going to talk a little bit about writing and giving yourself grace. I know that Stanetta mentioned, where you see these people, it's like write a book in 30 days, write a book in 90 days. What most people don't understand is what they mean is write a draft. In other words, get the story, tell the story. So you're basically writing the first draft, which is just the bones of the story. And it does require a lot of, revisions, research, all of these things to bring it to fruition. And so we have this comparison thing going on where people are going, oh, well, if they can write a book in 30 days and it takes me a year, 18 months, it's like, number one, I'm going to say, give yourself grace and know that your journey is like no one else's. Those people may not have a family. They may not have other things in their life that are taking up their time, or what it is that they're writing about may not be a deep thought subject that requires a lot of hard, deep work and mental aspect. So give yourself grace. Remember that your journey is unlike anyone else's, and you have to stay in your lane and just keep running your race. Also, that writing and publishing is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Even when you publish your book, that's not the end. That book is out there for the rest of your lifetime and beyond. Copyrights last for 75 years for a reason, because books last a lifetime. So don't rush. And what I have to say about that is, remember, you want a product that's going to be out there for your lifetime and beyond to be what you want it to be. Now, I'm not saying be perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. I have mistakes in my book. I leave them in there so that my followers and readers know that I am getting better each time. So that you have to recall that it needs to be the best that you can get it to at this point in time. Don't be sloppy, because it is going to come back and tell on you. I've met authors and writers that publish work that they didn't get an editor because they couldn't afford one, or they didn't get a professional book cover designer, many, many things. And what they'll see is it's holding them back from breaking through with sales, with awards, and all of these things. So take your time, do the best you can at that moment. I'm not saying that you can't get by without an editor. I'm not saying you can't get by without a professional cover designer, but realize, again, as I said, you're making a decision to make it a little more difficult for yourself. So if you want to rush, you're making it harder. If you want to take your time, be thoughtful, be progressive, don't lag, don't slack, but at least give yourself grace to know that your journey happens when it happens. Run your own race. Remember, book writing and publishing is a marathon. It is not a sprint. As I've said before, there's so much more we can talk about this particular tip, but next time you're beating yourself up, remember, I'm sitting in your mirror telling you that you can do it and you can run this race with what the tools that you have in your pocket right now. And if you need more, you can always come back and we will fill up your toolbox for you. Thank you, Jackie and Stanetta, for being with us this week. As always, I am so grateful to be the host of the Writer's Parachute, guiding author and writer dreams to a perfect landing. We hope that you find this creative space a safe space for your dreams to land well too. Until next time, have a great day. Bye.